Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with my partner, as always, the captain, not of the captain in Centennial.
No.
But you have your captain's hat on because you were actually on the
Monongahela River.
Now, we practiced that about 16 times for the show.
We even got on pronunciations.com.
And why were you there, Tate?
Went to the Morgantown, West Virginia for the Eastern Kentucky Colonel West Virginia game. It was a boat race in the other direction of the Colonels, but that's okay. But most importantly, we stayed on the river, the Monongahela River, downtown. Really cool place, man. That's a college football town. And
why did that game interest you?
My son plays for Eastern Kentucky.
Yes, he does, and played quite well.
Yes, he did. For a freshman, I thought he did a great job. I was very proud of him. So.
And he wasn't going up against small guys.
No, did you see those guys?
Yeah, I did see them.
Oof. They fall under the category of dudes. Dudes.
Well, that's exciting for Jarrett and yourself and the Mathews family, so we were all very proud of him.
Thank you.
And proud of
Means
you
a lot.
And proud of you for pronouncing Monongahela correctly.
Yes, I was very proud of myself.
Tate, can you believe?
That's pretty country, by the way, man. I don't think I'd want to be there during the winter, but those mountains up there, it's really neat. I'm being serious.
John Denver territory.
So at the end of the game, that's what they play.
Isn't that like the state song?
It might be.
The country road song?
Yeah, they play it up on the Jumbotron or whatever. It was weird, man. Okay, can I say this? I know this has nothing to do with it, but this is pretty neat because I experienced it. The piped-in crowd noise versus none. They did that. Now, West Virginia was a little bit different than Marshall. Marshall let in about 2,500 fans. West Virginia, it was players, families, that's it. There weren't 500 people in the stands, and they seat 80 or whatever. It was crazy. But they piped in the crowd noise.
And was that effective?
I am a total vote for it. I loved it. I can't imagine what it would have been like without it.
The only thing I didn't like, I thought the NFL did a terrible job. It was like louder than the guys announcing.
Yeah.
They didn't get the decibel, but I thought the college guys did a better job.
I thought it was cool. I can tell you, I didn't. Yesterday we were busy. I didn't get to watch any NFL, so I can't speak to that. But I can tell you, as a guy, as a spectator in the stands, I liked it.
Made it feel like it was a bigger game.
Yeah.
In terms of crowd.
Yeah, it'd have been weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know.
That's cool.
But again, cool place. If you're ever looking to go to a game there, I could see where fun time. It reminded me a lot of Knoxville. There you go.
One of your other favorite places. Special to the Mathews family.
Yeah. Used to be more fun. Hopefully we're getting back there.
Tate, we got a lot of exciting things going on. After this week, we'll be at the halfway point.
Crazy.
Of the season in high school football. This was week 5 coming up. Big happenings in volleyball this past week, and I feel real bad that when you put me on the spot and said when do Brentwood and Summit play, and I was like, I don't know. They actually played the night of the show.
Right.
So it goes, there's really good news and bad news here for Summit. The good news is they take this thing to 5 sets, and they show that really they are the clear number 2 right now in the league. The bad news is no Eggleston and some other starters, and Brentwood was still able to win in 5 sets. And I believe in that when they won set 4 and 5, led by Mary Oldham, a senior who stepped up. And by the way, 4 consecutive matches with double-digit kills. I mean, next young lady up for Brentwood. So impressive for Summit, but really maybe just as impressive for Brentwood to beat a very good Summit team, shorthanded. And later on in the week, Brentwood had another win over Independence. 86 straight wins in the district for Brentwood. It's unbelievable.
Crazy. I'd love to know, I'd like to compare that with all the nation streaks, but that's strong, man. I mean, how many, do you even know? You probably don't. What is that, 5 years, 4 years, 6 years?
Well, you figure in the league you're going to get at least, 10 or 12 matches at least during that time period, so it's got to be. It's probably the state tournament. It's probably the same as the state championship. I'm assuming the 7 years they've won, they haven't lost a district match.
Crazy.
I'm going to guess it came back before that. Unless they're counting in that district total, that 86 total, if they're counting postseason too, then maybe it's not quite as long.
So you've had teams where you had a dominant player there was no doubt who the person was. So Eggleston being out, do you think Coach Campbell likes, of course she doesn't like having her out, but other people have had to step up what it's like without her. You know, do you kind of embrace that sometimes as a coach?
I would say in hindsight, she definitely does, because it worked out okay. They're still going to win the district, it looks like. So because they came through it, I bet she would go, yeah. And you know, older sister, Logan Eggleston, remember she was out because of Junior Olympics a couple years ago. So this isn't the first time that that's happened to them.
Right.
And they just, I tell you, they've got players.
Keep on rolling.
It's not just Eggleston. They've got the total package. They get the players, they get the coaches, they get the tradition, they get the game plan. But really hats off to Summit too, hanging in there and losing in 5 sets. Other scores of interest: Centennial over Page 3-1, Ravenwood over Franklin 3-0, and then heading towards the home stretch right now. In 5th, you've got Independence. 4th is Franklin. 3rd, Ravenwood. 2nd, Summit. 1st, Brentwood. Also, wanted to mention Nolensville just keeps on rolling. They defeat a much improved Marshall County team. They're now 7-0 in the district. But oh, by the way, over the weekend, they defeat Cookeville. They defeat Siegel, who's a powerhouse. They defeat Brentwood, and they defeat Central Magnet. So I know we might go, hey, Brentwood had some people out, but when you look at the record books, they're not going to say, oh, Nolensville won, but there's an asterisk here that these people didn't play. Doesn't matter. They beat them, I think it was 2-1. They play a modified sets in terms of amount in those weekend tournaments. So congratulations to Coach Young and Nolensville.
Yeah, pretty cool. I talked to him today, and they beat Brentwood. Houston beat Nolensville, and Brentwood beat Houston.
It's crazy.
So, but hey, yeah, no asterisk, and also that's why he does those things, because nobody in the district's going to challenge them to do what they need to do once they get to MTSU, and I think it's brilliant by Coach Young what he's doing. And still, hey, that's pretty big. I don't care who was missing. Those young ladies and those coaches got to go in the locker room. They just beat Brentwood. That's big.
Well, I think it says, and I don't think you can question this, that's the 2nd best team, regardless of class, in Williamson County.
I agree.
I just think there's no doubt about it. Soccer, Franklin over Centennial 7-0. Page and Nolensville, an out-of-district but a WCS matchup, tied at 1. And then Brentwood and Ravenwood postponed their game until later because of some sickness issues there in the schools. In golf, Centennial and Page split. The Centennial girls, 91-98. Winners, and the Page boys, 168-175. Franklin defeats Independence in boys and girls, and then they split with Page. Oh, by the way, the Page boys, golf-wise, they've had some pretty impressive wins. They get a win over Centennial, a win over Franklin last week. So Page doing a good job there in golf.
I love it, man. It's parity. I think we've got parity in golf now in this county, and I like it.
Now, listen, don't totally, this is unscientific. But as the ACT score increases, you tend to play better in golf. And by the way, I noticed that Page, their ACT has climbed the past couple of years. Well, guess what else has happened? They've played
their wins in golf.
That's right. So I think there's some kind of correlation there.
Doesn't that mean that Hume Fall got to win the state championship in golf?
They're
not playing. They're not playing right now.
We would call that an outlier, so to speak. How about cross country? Huge meet there in Alabama, Chickasaw Invitational in Oakville, Alabama. On the girls' side, Independence finishes 7th as a team, Franklin 4th, Brentwood 1st. On the boys' side, Independence 11th, Brentwood 8th, Franklin 2nd. Here's what I thought was interesting, and we've talked about this before with cross country. If you look at individuals, Kevin Vanderkolk led the county, finished 4th, and the Franklin top finisher was only 11th. But all of their runners, 4 of their runners finished in the top 25, so it's about that total time. Yeah. You can have that magnificent runner here or there, but it's about that total. So Franklin ends up finishing 2nd overall, even though they had no guys in the top 10.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Well, that's what's neat about it. It's another one of those sports. It's like wrestling. There's individual championships and there's team. And obviously Franklin is the best team on the boys' side right now. I think it's cool.
Caitlin Vanderkolk keeping it in the family. She was the top finisher on the girls' side, finished 2nd. And did you notice something that stood out to me a little bit was Lee Walters finished 5th, but then Brooke Till of Brentwood actually finished 4th. She finished ahead of Lee. And I know we've we're very used to Lee being the dominant runner. And then obviously Vanderkolk, obviously. So 2 Brentwood runners actually finished ahead of Walters. Eden Middledorf from Brentwood also finished 7th. Peyton Strauss, 8th. The Halterman sisters, Janie and Julia, finished 9th and 10th for Independence. And then Madison Lanai, 14th. So take a look at how many girls are in the top 15 in that race. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be hard to stop Brentwood on the girls' side from winning the state title.
Going to be tough. Going to be really tough. And on the girls' side, all those that you just mentioned, they dominated that meet.
They dominated. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this. I saw where Lee Walters and also Connor Bevan, Jason Amsler, football players for Franklin. Connor also plays basketball. We're all national merit semifinalists. There may have been others. I just saw those 3 names listed who I recognize as being athletes. So that's pretty cool.
That's strong. That's really strong.
Let's talk a little football, Tate.
Let's go.
Let's start off with our WCTV game of the week. Maybe a mild upset, people would think. I wouldn't call it a major upset, but maybe an upset. Franklin 27 at Summit 20. Franklin with a 16-play, 82-yard drive in the 4th quarter to seal the win, capped by our WCTV play of the week.
They're just going to try to keep it in the middle of the field, I would
Then
think.
he'll roll out to his right, looking for a receiver. Ball is caught.
it's
Oh, my
touchdown.
goodness. He called that a touchdown.
We'll see right here. Bevan has gone to this play before, has outthrown repass twice where his foot has been out of the end zone. This time hangs it up in the air, and this is when your favorite receiver finally comes down with it. Touchdown, Admirals.
Well, if you didn't watch the game, what you didn't see there is they got the ball down to the 2-yard line. Errant snap goes back. Now it's 3rd and 15. Oh my gosh, that 16-play drive, or at the time 15-play drive, was all for nothing. And then a touchdown pass by Bevan in the back of the end zone. He just keeps getting better and better. He's done it every week. And so
Great catch by Carson Repass.
great catch by Carson Repass. Great job by the line protecting. They roll him out, let him extend the play a little bit, and give him time to get open. And it was a big-time throw, big-time pass, big-time drive. And, when our Wilco teams play each other, you hate to see one win and one lose. But, man, what a big win for Coach Donnie Webb and the Admirals. And, they won with a goal line stand. The doctor of defense can still coach defense.
Yes, he can.
And then a 16-play drive. So everything about that was really cool. But the coolest thing I think is Bevan is really becoming he's an athletic guy, but he's really becoming a quarterback, man. Like, he closed that game out. That's pretty cool.
Something that really stood out to me when I looked at the stats, the total yards, Franklin over 100 yards more, 364 to 257, but something that really stood out to me was the number of plays.
Yeah.
65 to 37. And Coach Coleman referred to that after the game, saying, hey, those guys kept leaning on us, and by the end of the game, it really took its toll on our team. And you could tell by that 16-play drive.
Oh, 100%. And then that was the other thing I was going to tell you is, before the game, would you have believed that Franklin would outpass, and especially the gap that they did, it was big. Outpass Summit. That's just not. And Summit runs the ball a lot now because of Destin Wade, the way they play. But still, when you're thinking about a Franklin team and a Summit team, you wouldn't think that Franklin would be the one with 300 passing yards.
I agree. So turnover-wise, Franklin, none.
Yep.
Summit, 2. And then first downs, Franklin 22 to 9. Actually, the rushing yards were 231 to 221. The passing 133 to 36. So that made that difference of about 107 yards of total offense more. Destin Wade, no surprise, another big night. 195 of the 221 Summit rushing yards, 2 touchdowns rushing, also 1 passing to Caleb Jolly. For Franklin, Bryce Sparks and Carson Gardner both had rushing touchdowns. And then I wanted to mention the special teams, because you like to talk about that. A.J. Elliott, only a sophomore, 2 field goal makes, 3 of 3 on extra points. That stuff matters.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the final score. You know, I mean, without those, so yeah. And back to the Wade, the 195 rushing. It was on 13 carries. You know,
2 long ones.
yes, but that's kind of what they want. Like, just keep giving him the ball, and he's going to break one. You know, so yeah. I read where Coach Coleman said it, and he's right. These are the kind of games they need, the physicalness to get ready for the playoffs, what they're going to see in the playoffs. So, yeah, he wanted to win, but they got out of it what they wanted. And, again, a big win for Franklin, man. Big win for Franklin.
I think maybe the surprise of the week is our next game, not by who won, but the difference. Brentwood 55, Henry County 17. 513 yards of offense versus 238. So now it's Air Crawford.
Air Granzow.
21 for 27, 339 yards, 6 passing TDs, 1 rushing. Now, you and I have talked a little bit off air, but I feel like maybe Granzow's hurt us. We were saying, hey, look at the numbers. Actually, we said this on air. Trevor Andrews, with those stats he's had, he's going to be a Mr. Football semifinalist. Maybe Mr. Granzow watches the show and said, not so fast, Tate Mathews.
Holy cow, he went off.
7 touchdowns, 6 passing?
Coach Evans sent me the stats Friday night. I thought it was a typo. I said, wait a second, he had 7 touchdowns? And I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. It was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, wasn't it?
That I can't speak to.
I don't think, or
They scored 27 points in the third quarter. I know
Brentwood, I know, did not score. So they scored 55 points against Henry County, who's not a dud.
Not a dud at all.
In 3 quarters. And, God, I mean, 21 for 27. And I know if you look at Brentwood's stats, they could be a little bit off. He had at least 2 drops. So I don't count that against the quarter. I mean, I know we do, but so he might have been 23 for 27.
Wow. How about this week's gym, Tate? Again, this sounds like fiction. In a 6-minute stretch in the third quarter, Granzow had 4 passing touchdowns in 7 plays.
That's crazy.
Three
of them, I believe 3 of them were to Merrill, or at least 2 of them.
Probably Walton. Walton had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Walton had 3 touchdowns. Merrill had 2.
Okay, 2 of the 3.
135 yards receiving for Walton, 137 for Merrill. Hey, we talk about Merrill all the time, but let me tell you something. Aaron Walton is racking it up in terms of yards and touchdowns. And maybe that's partly because Merrill gets attention, but it's big reasons because Walton can play.
That's right.
No doubt about it.
And the thing I love about it is that coming out of the Brentwood Academy game, I know Coach Crawford wasn't really happy with the way they played on the line of scrimmage. They obviously took care of the line of scrimmage.
Well, something Henry County's known for, right?
Yeah, physical.
Being tough up front.
You know that from your beach days.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know how they like to play a lot like beach. And obviously they got out physical. They got out everything Friday night.
Big time. Scott Collins caught the other touchdown from Granzow. And then we had a little look into the future there at the end. Davis White, a junior, with a touchdown pass to Kyler Green, who's a sophomore, for the final score. I'm sure those are names we're going to be hearing a lot about next year. Here's a game that made me smile. I was so happy that this happened for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which was WCS versus Rutherford County. Centennial 24, Siegel 7. Great win for the young Cougars. And I'm going to tell you this. All these names I'm going to mention when we start talking about stats, not one of them's a senior.
No.
Cannon Plowman, junior, 81 yards as the quarterback, 6 catches for 54 yards, receiving and a touchdown. Brendan Jones, 113 yards passing, only a sophomore. And that's pretty neat how they're doing the dual quarterback thing. Seems to be working out pretty well for them.
Oh, it is. It's been a great change-up for him. And the cool thing is Brendan Jones was 113 yards. He was 11 for 13, and he had a touchdown pass. Do you want to gander who caught the touchdown pass?
Mr. Plowman.
Mr. Plowman. That's pretty cool. And then he comes in and is playing quarterback too. But yeah, it's a nice change-up. And the main thing is they want to find ways to get Plowman the ball. And Brennan Jones, as we mentioned, is a sophomore. I don't care if you're going against Air. You go 11 for 13. That's pretty dang good, especially as a sophomore. They're growing is the point. They're getting better, man. And I know you're going to talk about the defense, but I don't know that anybody's had more hardships to deal with everything that we're dealing with right now in 2020 than Centennial, man. And those kids could have packed it in, and they didn't. And this is a huge win for them, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Coach Kreisky, and they're getting better is the cool thing.
And they've got DICKSON coming up, which is another good opportunity to win. Joe Nelson with the interception. Also, Kofi Boggs, who is a freshman. I'm telling you, that's a big deal. You're out there playing for a 6A football team, and you get an interception as a freshman. That's a big deal.
Well, and I was glad you brought that up because I knew you'd like that. He's a basketball player.
He is.
And I know you know about him, but he is – everybody knows about him in basketball, but he can be a really, really good football player. You're right. One, the fact that he's out there as a freshman in the secondary and then getting an interception, there's going to be plenty of those in the next 4 years.
Alex Pierce, the sophomore, with a touchdown receiving. Also, junior Josh Forsey with the 45-yard TD run. Siegel is now 0-3 in Williamson County this year. Blackman, who's we're going to talk about next, they're now 0-2 in WCS after a 28-7 beatdown by Independence. Jackson Campbell, again, he's another guy when you read the stats. 12 rushes, 104 yards, 3 touchdowns. 11 for 23 passing, 182 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, it's his stats, and I got a feeling there's some drops in there too.
Oh, guaranteed.
One thing I did like, when you looked at his stats, and I know Coach Blade loved this too, 7 different receivers caught passes. Calvin Wilson, 3 for 57 and a touchdown. Ty Lockwood, who's only a sophomore, 6 receptions, 84 yards. And then rushing, again, another sophomore, Trey Hartwell, 9 carries, 52 yards. Great win there for Independence, going on the road to take care of Blackman.
Yeah, and again, just his 3rd game as a quarterback. We've talked about him a lot. He's just going to keep getting better. He's just a matchup problem, but I don't know what it is about Blackman and Independence. If I was Blackman, I wouldn't schedule them anymore because this is 2 years in a row. That is not a good matchup.
49-7 last year. So let me do my math real quick. That would be 77-14. And by the way, Blackman, no question, the last 2 years has been at least their 3rd best team.
Oh, yeah.
In Rutherford County, correct?
Well,
Riverdale's there, right?
yeah, but last year it was Blackman. But,
it was number two, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say this year it's Riverdale, but you're right. I'm with you. Point made. I'm looking forward to this Independence-Franklin game.
Can't wait to see that game. Ravenwood, 29 versus Pulaski Academy, 37. I went to that game, not quite the shootout as last year, but it's so entertaining and fascinating to watch that Pulaski team play because they punted 0 times. Onside kick every time. In fact, I read something that at the end of the game where the coach said he was going to punt there late if they didn't gain enough yards on 3rd down. I think they got it to 4th and 1 there late. And he said they had punted 9 times in 16 years. I'm like, what the heck, man? That seems unbelievable.
Well, one, I think it's crazy. That's crazy. But then that he knew that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
he wears
that's pretty specific.
It is. But, you know, something I noticed about that team, the way they play obviously keeps them in the game, but maybe at times keeps the opponent in the game too because it's 22-7. Early in the 3rd, and they onside kick it. It pops up. Brenning still takes it to the house, and that totally changed that game.
Yes.
It goes 22-14. They get a stop, 22-all, 29-all. But then you also go back and look, and they've got the ball. I know I sent you a text about this, and you were like, hey, he's not taking chances. That's just what he does. They have it 4th and 1 from their own 23 late in the game, and it's 29-all. They get a 1st down. They eventually score. My question to you, because you're more of a football guy than me, why don't more people do this? He's got 3 guys. He had 2 guys on offense and 1 on defense who were 200 pounds or more. Yeah. Everybody else is less than 200. And let's not act like Ravenwood can't play.
Right.
When I looked at those 2 teams just physically, it looked like Ravenwood would dominate. And that's nothing against the Ravenwood team or the staff. I mean, they're playing a team. This is a quirky kind of team. Why don't more people do that?
Well, one, that's not the way they're brought up. You know, I mean, all these other guys are brought up, and I'm sure he was too, under coaches that you know, protect the ball, field position, play good defense, you know. But I've listened to a couple of things on podcast of them. It's the best way I can describe it. Everybody knows about the book and the movie Moneyball. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all, everybody's like, that's what we were talking about on text is, man, that guy's got guts. I know what you're saying. I wasn't trying to be dismissive, but to him, it's not guts. It's all numbers. It's all percentages. And so like when you see that wasn't an emotional decision at all. It was already determined. Like it's all numbers to him. So
The choice to play that way in the first place is the guts part.
that's
But
the
once
guts
you
part.
decide, it's no.
Well, and he had already been convinced on it. Like you said, he's looked at all the percentages. He's looked at all the numbers with the odds of what the percentages are of picking up that fourth down, and he pairs that with how long and the average high school punter punt is. He figures that you're better off just going for it because the field position is going to be bad. But here's one thing that I did think was pretty neat. Maybe I meant to ask you this before. I noticed in the third quarter they had 13 points. Well, he goes for 2 every time. And so that wasn't adding up. And then I read they scored in the third quarter.
And kicked a field goal.
And
Kicked the extra point.
went for 2 and didn't get it. But then the next time they kicked an extra point. Do you have any idea of why?
It must be the math of how much they were ahead is
Yeah.
what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Last year they kicked an extra point too in that game late. So I know, and then the guy kicked it. It was nice. I was like, this is going to be a joke, and he hit it pretty nicely. Trevor Andrews, 12 for 25, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions. Jake Brenningstool, 4 receptions, 76 yards, a receiving touchdown. Then the other one we talked about, Ross Johnston with a touchdown reception. Parker Corley had an interception. And then, late in the game, Ravenwood's driving. They've got it first down and goal at the 1. They get stuffed a couple times, then they fumble the ball. The rest is history. I was looking forward to them scoring, then going for 2 just to see what would happen. But then they couldn't stop them. Ravenwood a little bit sloppy with penalties, 10 penalties for 80 yards. But again, I just think the nature of playing them, it's just such a goofy game.
Right.
It really is. But credit those Ravenwood kids and Coach Daniels. They hung in there for sure.
Well, and here's the good thing. The bad thing is those penalties. I think I saw where Coach Daniels said 8 of them were procedure penalties. You can fix that easy, So, and you were talking about why don't more people do this? Coach Daniels is the closest thing we got here. He's doing more and more of it. I don't know, man. Maybe this younger wave of coaches
Maybe.
we'll get to it, but it sure is fun.
Our final game, Page 0 at Lipscomb 41. Sophomore quarterback Jake McNamara facing his old team. That young man's getting better and better. They were just outmatched in this game. More experienced team, and the Mustangs dominated from the get-go on that particular night.
Yeah, McNamara is going to be a really good quarterback, and Coach Rathbone's very high on him. And when you think about the great quarterbacks they've had, Mizell, Walker, and he says he's going to be up there as one of them. He's going to be one of the really good quarterbacks by the time he leaves there.
Again, if those teams played in the future, I think it would be different. Hopefully,
That's a tough matchup.
Hopefully they won't play, though.
Yeah.
Nolensville had a bye, much needed last week. Fairview Waverly canceled. That particular game was canceled, so they didn't play.
Do you know, are they going to try to make that up? Don't know yet.
Not sure. Not sure about that at this point. Non-region doubtful, unless they can just find a place to do it. This week's game, let's talk about those, and then we'll go to our picks.
Yeah.
Battle of the Woods. Now, you know what? On the trophy, it says Battle of the Wood. But everybody now says Battle of the Woods with an S. What is it? Was it originally wood, and that just went to woods? Because they are woods. They're both wood.
They're both woods, but they're both in Brentwood. So I've never thought about it, but now that you say that, I think it's the Battle of Brentwood, right? The Battle of the Wood. That's what I'm going with. Maybe Coach King knows.
We'll have to tell Dr. Qualls to change those logos he created, because I think it says Battle of the Woods with an S.
Maybe that's where it got changed.
Maybe.
The Hickman County guy.
It threw me off when I saw the little trophy they have.
Be careful now. Like when people mess up that border battle, the Battle of the Border,
He gets
that
out
doesn't
right.
sit well with Dr. Q.
It doesn't. Brentwood, by the way, has won the past 2 regular season matchups, and then Ravenwood ends up getting revenge in the quarterfinals. It'll be interesting to see what happens this time. Ravenwood already 2-0 in region play. It's the first region game for Brentwood, so they're going to be heavy on the region games as we progress here.
So, and here's the thing that I was wondering when I saw that. Henry County's score because, and you've been there, Coach Crawford, they ended up having the week off before. Henry County is a game you can't take lightly, but so did that mean they took 2 weeks game planning for Henry County? I don't think so with the Battle of the Wood after it. So I don't know. How much time did they spend the last 2 weeks on Ravenwood? I got to think a good amount. What do you think? What would you have done?
I would probably worked on it and they wouldn't know that's what we were doing.
Yeah. But those are smart kids.
You're doing some things. Well, I consider myself a pretty crafty guy. Listen, I was always told if you can't outsmart a 16-year-old, you got to do something different. I know some of those guys are 17 and 18 too, but come on. All right, Centennial we mentioned 1-3 versus DICKSON, who's 1-2, and their one win actually was a no contest, so they haven't really won a game yet. Fairview 3-0, 1-0 in the league at Sycamore. That's not going to bode well for Sycamore. They lost 22-6 at Stewart County last week. They're 0-1 in the league. Franklin, you mentioned this game, 2-2, 0-1 in the league versus Independence, 2-1, 1-0 in the league. Again, that game's at Franklin High School. And remember last year's game, 28-27 Independence, and Franklin goes for 2, had an open receiver, didn't hit him, or they could have won that game. I think that's going to be a really special game along with that Brentwood-Ravenwood game.
Oh, 100%. Both of those you can't go wrong, whichever one you pick to go to.
No doubt about it. Final game, Nowensville, 2-1, 1-0 in the league at Lawrence County. 3-1, 1-0 in the league. Again, their only win's the no contest against Maplewood. This might not bode well for old Lawrence County. They lost, and I know they're improved, Warren County, but didn't they not have a team, and now they come back and have a team, and they're playing people that really aren't their size?
No, they weren't going to have a team. They stepped out of. They didn't play in a region. Yeah, to get wins.
Listen.
What's their mascot?
The Pioneers.
There you go.
No offense to Warren County, but give me a break. You're going to have a team and you're just not playing in your league?
I didn't.
I mean, come on.
I'm not saying they're the Clemson Tigers.
Give me a break. 40-3, by the way, Warren County defeated Lawrence County. So anyway, that may not bode well for them. Page is off. They got a bye week. And then Summit, they're going to get a no contest with the win over Overton. They couldn't get a game, so Coach Coleman said, look, we need the rest anyway. We're just going to take the week off. He tried to reschedule to find another game, just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I know that's not what he wanted, but I'm not so sure this isn't a good thing for Summit. Heal up. They're going to be playing deep. Let's get healthy.
You know what stat I'd like? I think I know the answer, but I don't have the official stats. When a team like Summit needs a game, all of a sudden nobody can play.
That's right.
When a team like Lawrence County or Sycamore, if Sycamore can't play a game, they'll be lined up to play Sycamore. No, I mean, I know that's awful making fun of those people, but come on.
Yeah.
You can't find one when you're Summit, but all of a sudden these other teams can. Give me a break.
It's gross.
Come on, man. All right, let's talk pick'ems. We got to do this quickly. Last week, Dr. Qualls was 3-3. He's still in last place, 15-9.
The caboose.
You're in third, just barely ahead. You went 4-2. The Fans and I also went 4-2. So you have 16 wins. The Fans have 17 wins, and I have 19 wins. Continue, fans, to vote on WCS CO Athletics. Again, vote for all the games, not just your game of interest. Vote for them all. All right. You want me to go first or you want to go first? I'll let you choose who goes first since you think I'm cheating.
Well, you always choose first on the ones you want to. But no, I'm game.
You tell me who chooses first.
I don't want to. You're the executive producer.
Okay. Brentwood at Ravenwood.
Battle of the Wood. Have we made a decision? Are we going with the Battle of the Wood on this show?
I don't know. I feel like I need to do some more
I'm going
research.
with Battle of Wood.
Let's go with Wood just because Qualls said Woods.
I know.
So let's go Wood.
No, that makes it sound like there's two Brentwoods. Or a Brentwood and a Ravenwood.
Well, but they're saying they both end in wood. Ravenwood.
It's the Battle of Brentwood.
Brentwood ends in wood. So
how about a poll? Can we do that?
Write that down. Okay, sounds good.
Pretty good.
All right, I'll pick first.
Go ahead.
Brentwood at Ravenwood. I think it's going to get reversed this year.
This Henry County score messed you up.
It did. It messed me up bad. I think it's got the real chance to get reversed this year in terms of who wins at what time. So at least for the regular season, I'm going with the Raptors.
Whoa! I knew you were leaning that way. Okay.
Well, that was
But
more
then
than leading.
I thought 7 touchdowns against Henry County was going to change it. So I'm good with that. I'm going, Coach Crawford, and the Brentwood Bruins. And it ain't Ravenwood week, it's Brentwood week. We're working on Brentwood.
All right, so you get the next pick. Here's a gimme for you. Centennial versus Dickson. Well, maybe not a gimme, but
Well, it can't be a boat race when it's 1-0. No, I think they play. Centennial, two in a row. What is 2 wins in a row? A streak.
it's a winning. I'm going Centennial. My pick, Fairview at Sycamore. Yeah, you better get your little glasses on and your hat because there's no doubt what's going to be happening here. Fairview.
Boat race. Not on the Monongahela, but on the, what is that? Is that the Tennessee River? What is that out there?
Whatever it is, it's going to happen.
Boat race, 40-foot Donzie.
Franklin versus Independence.
My pick?
Your pick.
Man, I'm so happy for the Admirals, and I think Coach Webb's got a great offensive line, and Bevan's getting better. But I think so highly of Jackson Campbell. I think he's a matchup nightmare for everybody. Indy, the Eagles.
We are going to have a chance for a little separation.
Yeah, you're going Rebel. Admirals.
Admirals.
Apologies.
I'm going Admirals. And,
I knew you were.
And really, not really, maybe as much as anything, not that who you're playing, but remember that Summit knocked off Indy.
That's right.
Now, that doesn't matter, right? It's about matchups. But I feel like Franklin's got it rolling a little bit. I think the difference is going to be location of the game. Games at Franklin, that's why I'm picking Franklin. So that's 2 different. And then
Yes.
the last one I don't think we're going to pick different. Nolensville, Lawrence County.
Samson Johnson, 2 touchdowns. Gallardi, it'll be about a 130. Nice and balanced. I don't think they can boat race them, but it's definitely double digits.
Nolensville with the win. So we've got 2 games that are different. We'll see what happens. You could get right back in this
Gosh,
thing.
I need this.
If,
Come on.
if both of yours win,
Come on, Brentwood and Indy.
if both of yours win, you'll only be 1 behind.
That's
If
where
both-
I need to be.
If both of mine win, I'm telling you, it could be over.
That's separations Friday.
It could be over. Chances are we'll probably split.
Those are some good games right there.
Very good games. Tate, as always, great to be here with you. Love
Yes, sir.
talking WCS sports with you.
Love it. Get to a game.
No doubt about it.
Buy your tickets.
Go fan.
Go fan's going to get broke on Battle of Wood, isn't it?
Somebody out there, one of those smart kids you're talking about, they're going to write some kind of code and they're going to be selling more tickets than they're supposed to.
I almost said tell Suntan Shane to get ready, but that's not Go Fan.
We appreciate you joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.